What's up, everybody? I'm Phil. That's Sam.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel.
Who do we got today, Sam?
We have Alice Cooper.
Only Women Bleed is the song title that we're doing. We've got a live version here that we're checking out from 1990. The song was originally released in 1975 off of Welcome to My Nightmare, which is also, I think, a song from that album, self-titled song that you guys were saying we should check out as well. So let us know if you want us to check out more Alice Cooper and if that might be one of the songs to check out. But this one here, how did we arrive at this?
This is a request from Mark. So thanks so much for supporting the channel again, Mark. And we're excited to check this one out.
Are you?
I am.
What are you looking forward to?
I mean, I've heard that he's pretty Mark was saying that he's pretty theatrical with his performances. So I'm interested to see what the stage presence is like.
Yeah, but we were reading this might be a little bit different in terms of the theatrics on this live performance because the song Only Women Bleed, I believe, has some social awareness to it. So maybe it's going to be not as over the top in terms of like the first song that we did with Poison was this like banger rock feel.
Yeah.
So maybe the theatrics for that are going to be different than what the theatrics might be for this, is what I'm picturing. So you guys can let us know if that is true. And Mark, like Sam was saying, has been a big supporter of our channel. So thank you so much, Mark. Thank you to all our members as well who got a part of that community and give us insights on all our polls. Thank you for all the viewers. You guys come through, hitting the like button, comments. We really appreciate that. All our subscribers, you know, we wouldn't be where we are today. We're coming close to 200,000 subscribers, which is pretty remarkable and much faster than we ever thought was going to be possible. So glad to have you guys here with us to check out more Alice Cooper. Remember to hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Remember to check the description if you want to add this song to your playlist. And if you want to check out the original video, we always have that link as well in our description. So enough with the introduction. I feel like I'm out of breath already. Let's get into Alice Cooper, Only Women Bleed.
Man got his woman to take his seat. He got the power, yeah, and she got the need. She spends her life through pleasing up her man. She feeds me dinner, oh, anything she can. She cries alone at night too often, and I smoke and drink, I don't come home at all. Only women bleed.
Wow.
Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Nothing makes your hair gray. I'm a life's mistake, and all she really looking for is just an even break. I lie right at her. You know she hates that game. I slap her once in a while. She lives in love. She cries alone at night too often, and I smoke and drink. I don't come home at all. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Only women bleed.
Well, We've got this really strong build, ballad feel from Alice Cooper here. So much different than the other song that we did.
Oh, completely different.
Still some theatrics for sure. Powerful. Literally a woman bleeding
On the stage, yeah.
Seems like the topic is domestic abuse, abusive relationships. But with that said, we're going to check out the lyrics here to get the full refrain of what's going on. All right, so we got the lyrics pulled up here, and I think we caught most of it, but I just wanted to be sure because obviously it's a much more detailed, lyric-driven song about a specific subject, right? So we didn't want to miss anything here. So we got, man got his woman to take his seed. He got the power. Oh, she got the need. She spends her life through pleasing her man. She feeds him dinner or anything she can. She cries alone at night too often. He smokes and drinks and don't come home at all. And so interestingly, that the lyrics are a little bit different here because this is talking in the third person, so to speak. But in some of the lyrics we heard from Alice in performing, he's saying he was talking about himself.
Yeah, like in first person, like as if he was the character that is the man talking about this woman.
Yeah, him performing it and speaking about that character as if he was that character. And
I think that's cool to do though, because I feel like that makes it powerful from like a live performance standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. For the concert setting, it's perfect. And like he's holding the woman, right? So you kind of see the results of his actions, the consequences, right?
I think when you're listening to it like this in the studio version, like the storytelling, like you're just envisioning it in your head, right? Whereas when you're seeing a live performance, you're watching him tell the story.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like kind of powerful from the first person.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like this line here, he got the power, oh, she got the need. I think it's also relatable to him in that sense of, I mean, it could be related to a lot of different men and women in that dynamic, but, you know, you hear so often about, you know, a wealthy individual, like, you know, feels like they can do whatever they want.
Celebrity.
Pardon?
Like a celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Alice here, right? Saying like he's the celebrity. So you can visualize him doing it because he could be this person that's, you know, got all the success and then she has the need to be with him and doesn't feel like she has any power, so to speak, in the relationship dynamic. So really creative from that standpoint. So I just want to kind of see, you know, specifically where we were going with the song. And I think we have a good grasp for it. What are you feeling about the musical performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, this is very different, and I think it's obviously to highlight the message of the song. Like the stage is a lot darker, and you know, like the focus is on him, like while he's telling the story. Yeah. And at first, I wasn't even sure if that was a real person. Like I thought it might be like a dummy, but I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's a real girl.
I think Mark mentioned that it is a real woman out there.
So I was like, she almost looks fake, but yeah, I mean, having the visuals and stuff, right? He can still incorporate those elements of like the theatrics on stage, but not overdoing it or taking it away from the song. Yeah.
I think it's like I said, so different than what we experienced in Poison. Very, very surprised with that. The acoustic ballad feel to begin, and we built up. I don't know if we're going to explode into more energy here, but I never would have, like I've seen images of Alice Cooper before, and I would have never envisioned him doing a song like this.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that it's good, right? Because it's bringing awareness to an issue through a way that like it's him showcasing his creativity and his artistry.
Well, yeah, his own diversity and creativity himself, right? That he can do both sides of the coin, and it adds a different flavor for the concert performance as well, right? And you want to have a more intimate, like you said, darker setting. And then you get into some of those ballads, some of those anthems, and you know that adds diversity to the whole performance in the concert, right?
Yep.
And all she really looking for is just an even break. I lie right at her. You know she hates that game. I slap her once in a while. She lives in love. She cries alone at night too often. And I smoke and drink, I don't come home at all. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. around and you there, down on your knees, begging me please, come watch me. Only women bleed. 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 Only women bleed.
She's staying so still.
Well, you're certainly seeing the performer in Alice Cooper come out in this one. You know, just an all-around performer. I mean, we've read about his performances, and obviously we haven't got to experience more of the rock anthem side of those performances.
And I still want to see the one with the boa constrictor.
That's something we've heard about him as well. But, you know, even in this, you're seeing the artistic display of him as an artist, right?
I think it's also really cool to see him in a more like it almost seemed like he was a little bit more vulnerable and emotional in this one,
For sure.
which is cool to see, like even just the other side of him, like from a performance standpoint.
Yeah, and that's, I think, showing again the creativity as an artist, with a performance artist. Clearly he's that kind of person, right? Like he does the makeup and, you know, the outfits and even the
Props.
Yeah, the props. But even there, right, when they did the they were playing the guitar, right?
Yeah.
When that came in with
And
the
had her like
shock of the energy, and it's like he was, you know, slapping her around at that moment, right? And then he comes behind her and like grabs her, and again comes back to this sensitive, vulnerable state. And so there's just so many emotions going through this song. And as I said, I just never would have pictured Alice Cooper doing something like this.
Yeah, and I think that, like, you know, it's really powerful to see that, because that also kind of visualizes that like toxic cycle in domestic abuse, right? Where it's like you do something because you're under an influence of a substance or you're angry, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm never going to do it again, and then it happens again, and then it's, oh, I'm so sorry. And I think he was trying to, you know, represent that with like slapping her around, but then like, you know, caressing her head and taking her hair out of her face, like, oh, I'm so sorry type thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that's something that like a lot of people go through in real life, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's highly an issue that people do experience, for sure. Only women bleed. I mean, it's something that I think it's interesting, because this came out, he wrote this in 1975, performed it in 1990, and I don't know what the figures are, you know, off the top of my head, but I would be curious to see if there's been a sharp rise in abuse that happens to men now as well. And, you know, maybe it could be in a different form of abuse. I think, you know, physical abuse is probably more detrimental to women, obviously, but I think it has... I just hear a lot of stories now about it being reversed in some respects. I'm not saying that
Like more like verbal, emotional kind of abuse.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that, like, maybe before it was 4% of men experience physical abuse, right? I'm saying now maybe it's 8. So it might still be low, and compared to women, it might, you know, be relatively low. I'm just saying I'm curious if there's been an increase in men that experience it as well at this point. And also, if I was going to talk about abuse, I would think about more, you know, emotional, manipulative, financial abuse would probably be the standout from the reverse component.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was just, you know, it's interesting. I see that title, Only Women Bleed, and it's obviously, you know, true that women experience domestic violence at a much higher rate. But I would be curious to know if that gap is closed at all.
Yeah, I feel like it probably has over time. And I think like at the time that this was released, I think probably it was more just about like that kind of stuff was happening a lot behind closed doors, and it was more of just like bringing awareness to it in the public eye.
Yeah.
Now it's almost like, you know, the awareness is there that it happens. It's more just about, now you said, right, like recognizing the specifics in like how it can happen in different situations with different people and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's terrible that it occurs, right? And at all. I mean, I remember growing up, that was like the one thing you just never would do. If anybody did it, if, you know, even if like you were a male and you knew of another male that had done that, then he would get the shit kicked out of him for going to do
Probably
that.
putting his
You know
hands
what I'm
on a
saying?
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, never put your hands on the woman, like you said. That the whole cliche, but that's how I was like brought up, and that's how I think of things. But clearly, it doesn't always end up that way, and I think oftentimes can be due to the fact of like your environment that you're raised in. So if you grow up in a household that has domestic violence, right, then you know, you as a child now are going to have a perspective on that. And it can go both ways, right? You could grow up and you hear stories about, you know, young men that grow up in households where they watch their dad beat their wife, beat their mom. And it means like they never want to have that happen again. They hate their fathers for it, blah, 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 blah. But then there's also, you know, maybe they get, you know, abused as well. So then they become abusive. So it's like, I think the family dynamic plays a big role.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And I think that like, you know, at the time too, like I feel like the perspective on men in general has changed a lot. Like I think back in this, when this came out and historically it was kind of this idea that like, oh, men are just strong and they can just like handle anything. So people weren't really recognizing like abuse in any form to men as much. Like even recently I watched a TV series on a, like, I'm into like murder mysteries and stuff and like crime shows, but basically I won't talk too much about it, but the story in it was that at this time in the 80s, there was these two people on trial and it was them having killed someone, but like the whole basis of it was that they were sexually abused. And that was the reason why it got to this situation. But like the reason why their defense didn't hold up in court was because it wasn't recognized that like men were being sexually abused at that time. Like it wasn't a big deal. It was like no more women are sexually abused.
So you were saying that women were sexually abusing men and
it was adults sexually like abusing younger people.
Yeah.
But it was because they were boys. It was like, oh, that's just things boys do to each other type thing. And it was like, it wasn't being as recognized as like sexual abuse as like a public, like a defense system, because at that time they were only really recognizing sexual abuse to females. Like only females could be sexually abused. So it was like, you know, at that time, I think in general, just like abuse towards men, it was like, well, men are these strong, tough individuals and things like that, just toughen them up. And, you know, like it just wasn't really recognized as a vulnerability, we'll say.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, the world is evolving at all times. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our discussion. And if you did, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed this video from Alice Cooper. Thanks so much, Mark, for making the request. Hopefully you guys enjoyed hanging out with us. Leave us a comment, give us insights on anything that we touched on. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and come back tomorrow. We'll drop 2 more videos, hopefully, if YouTube isn't giving us any problems. And we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.